Coming up next on the Conscious Courage podcast.
So I think when we understand that all these insurances are necessary, that keeps more money in the house. Because guess what? How many Black families have done what they had to do? Meaning, we go off, we go get the education, we get the job, we save up the money, and then boom, an unfortunate accident happens, somebody dies, and because we're the one with the money in the family, we're the one who have to front the costs.
Good morning. Welcome to the Conscious Courage podcast, and sing it with me. Happy Motivational Monday. I am your host, Davone'a. I meet with you all every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to provide practical steps toward our inner healing journey, or what I've coined internal glow up. Whether you're here as a first-time listener or returning, thank you for tuning in. The team and I are grateful to every subscriber via YouTube and every listener via Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify. With a special shout out to all of our IGU babes keeping up with us on social media on all platforms at CC Podcast with DT. Y'all are locked in, and we are too hyped to have you here, all right? Now, ensure to listen on through so you can receive those practical steps as well as any announcements that we may have. Let's dive on into today's episode. So we're back. Before we pause for the water and the snack break and to just regroup, okay?
Yes.
Stump the enemy and tell him where he had to go.
Okay.
You were rounding up the discussion on life insurance and the elderly portion of it, but if there's anything else you had left, please take it away.
I just think it's really important for us to understand that life insurance is very, very important. And, it's like I see people spending money on bottles in the clubs, going to strip clubs, throwing all the money, spending money on sections, spending money on women, spending money on jewelry, spending money on drip, drop, all whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then when you die, I get a GoFundMe to contribute to that. That doesn't make sense. And we have to understand that life insurance is such a powerful asset, because life insurance is an asset. It's such a powerful asset. And the younger you are when you have life insurance, the cheaper it is. Because life insurance gives you money off of morbidity and mortality. So the closer you are to death, the more money it's going to be. And right now, the life expectancy for a United States American is 92 years old. So the closer you are to 92, the more money your life insurance will cost. The further away you are from 92, the cheaper it will be. So every day is another day. And just so people know, when it comes to the table charts and the ratings for life insurance, after 6 months, so if my birthday is in February, 6 months after February, it'll be the same amount of money, but after the 6th month, it increases.
I didn't know that.
It's important. Most of us don't know that. I only know that because I'm licensed. I'm a licensed insurance agent. See, I had to go dip and dabble to go learn, because there's a lot of things we didn't learn in life. And we'll go into that, but I don't want to get off of this. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So by August, my life insurance premium will be more expensive than March. If I purchased in March, right? At 30 years old, it's going to be cheaper than at 40. The sicker you are, the more money is going to be. And I'm going to say something else, and people are not going to like this. Okay. But I have to say it. The chunkier you are, the heavier set you are, the more money it's going to be. Why? Because when you are overweight or obese, there are other things that come with that. Like, you have higher chance of heart disease. You have higher chance for diabetes. You have higher chance for high cholesterol. If you have high cholesterol, then you're probably going to end up having a heart attack easier, right? So the more heavier you are, the more associated you will be to health risk. Once you have risk with health, it costs more money because they feel you're going to die sooner before the other person. They feel you're going to have a heart attack before somebody who's skinnier because the skinnier person is healthier. I'm not here to dispute about, oh, well, skinny people are unhealthy too. We're not talking about that. We just talking about what the formalities and the generalities are.
Yeah.
If you're overweight, you have a higher chance for heart attack than a skinnier person. That's it. If you are overweight, you have a higher chance to have diabetes than a skinnier person. That's it. And so you're going to be charged accordingly. Just like if you are a woman, you will be charged less for life insurance than a man because men have a tendency to die before the women. They say we kill y'all off. I don't know. This is just what I know as a life insurance agent. They say the women stress the men and then whatever. And guess what?
Black Florida, y'all.
The same thing for life, not life insurance, but for long-term care insurance. Women are more expensive. Our premiums are more than men because we live longer and we file more claims than men. Meaning a woman will use the long-term care insurance and file a claim more than a man will. So we're more expensive. So I think when we understand that all these insurances are necessary, that keeps more money in the house because guess what? How many Black families have done what they had to do? Meaning we go off, we go get the education, we get the job, we save up the money, and then boom, an unfortunate accident happens, somebody dies, and because we're the one with the money in the family, we're the one who have to front the costs. That $30,000 that you just saved, you just spent all these years to save, do what you sacrificed. You didn't go on the trips, you didn't buy the clothes, you didn't buy the drip, you didn't buy any of that. You saved for those 5 years, and you saved that $30,000 so that you could buy a house. And now somebody died, and you're the person who has to front that funeral cost. Because maybe out of all your siblings, you're the financially responsible one. You're the one that everyone knows they can rely on. Don't it suck to be the financially responsible sibling? You may not even be the eldest, but you're just the most responsible one. And now one of your parents died, and now you have to cover that cost all by yourself.
Yeah.
That $30,000 you saved, it's gone. It's down the drain. It's down the toilet now. It's flushed away. And now you got to start all over. You mad? You at odds with your siblings because they just living their best life. All because what? We didn't have a life insurance policy. So I think this is a conversation that needs to happen. I don't care if it happens at the family reunion.
Yeah.
I don't care if we have a Zoom family reunion, but I think every 6 months or once a year, there should be a conversation that happens with every family member involved. Well, we're talking, hey, everybody got their life insurance? See, these are conversations we don't want to have because people don't want people in their business. And Black people, we have to stop doing that. And I'm saying this, we have to stop saying, well, I don't want people in my business. No, people need to be in your business, especially when we're going to be handling your business when you die. We need to ask, hey, Maya, Jonathan, first of all, where is the life insurance? How much do you have? Because if I find out you have 15,000 with Gerber, I might be I might not be comfortable with that. So I might need to talk to my siblings and say, hey, mom over here talking about she have $10,000 of a Gerber life insurance policy. I don't know what she's doing with that, but we need to put together so we can get a life insurance policy for her. See, these are the conversations we need to have. When somebody's pregnant, in that family reunion that we have per year, the conversation needs to be, all right, listen, when the baby drop, we need to go ahead and get a life insurance policy on the baby. Well, he's not even going to have a Social Security. He doesn't need a Social Security. You can get a life insurance on a baby as soon as they are 7 days old. Woo, without the Social Security, and they give you up to a year to get the Social Security. Okay. And you get a whole life policy on that baby.
Yeah.
Why? Because didn't I tell you, remember I told you earlier just now that it is less expensive
Yep.
based on what? Age.
Age.
So how much money do you think we'll be able to get on a child if we put in $100 a month? I can do a lot with $100 a month, because that child will be 20 years old one day, will be 25 years old. See, if I had started a life insurance policy, a whole life policy, when my children were 0 years old, on today, when my daughter went off to college, that money that maybe I had to pay for her dorm, I would have been able to take from the whole life policy, from the cash value accumulation,
yes.
and I could have used it towards that. I got to go buy Miss Thing a car. And I'm struggling because I got to buy her a car because I don't have a whole life policy that had been accumulating for 19 years that I could have pulled out 10, 15,000 and bought her a car and not have to worry about a car payment. You see, so when the word of God says, my people will perish for a lack of knowledge.
Yes.
I'm suffering. I'm dying right now financially because I did not have that knowledge.
You are in a financial transition in the name of Jesus. You're not dying.
I love it. But I want you to understand that metaphorically.
But yes.
It's not, the death doesn't just happen physically.
That's good.
The death don't happen physically. Had I not been ignorant to what whole life policy was 19 years ago when I had Maya, you see what I'm saying? On today, I would not be suffering when I have to buy her that car, because it's not easy to buy that car, to have 2 car payments now. I'm not, and I have to be transparent because I have to share my experiences. It is not easy to pay my car payment and car insurance and now have to go get little mama hers. But it would have been easy if I had that whole life policy sitting there for 19 years. And I could have just pulled out on it. But because of grace, right? Because of grace, God's not going to let me die.
Yes.
He's going to give us the way to get that car from her, for her, right? Without me having to suffer a metaphorical death in my finances.
There you go.
You understand what I'm saying? But let's be clear. It's a crucifixion going on with my finances, having to pay that and then having to get for the next child. I'm just covered by grace.
Amen.
So I'm not going to feel that crucifixion. I'm not going to feel that suffer. You understand what I'm saying? So I encourage people to have these conversations, but before we have the conversations, we have to be educated on it. So when we converse, we know what we're speaking about. That is so important. Do you have disability insurance? Do you have a short-term disability policy, maybe with Aflac or one of those companies where you have the disability for 90 days? Because guess what? Long-term disability does not start until the 91st day. So what is happening in the 90 days? Where are you getting that money? You got into an accident, something happened, you got sick, can't work. What is happening? Do we have the emergency savings lined up? That's why, you ever notice why they say an emergency savings should be 3 months? Do you know why 3 months is the number?
Why is 3 months the number?
Because that's when all your benefits hit from your employer on 91 days. After 3 months is when you qualify for long-term disability. So if you had emergency savings for 3 months and your emergency savings could pay for all your housing expenses and bills while you're not making money, while you're off, on that 4th month, now you're getting what, 60% of disability coming in. You see what I'm saying? But if you had short-term disability, you would still be having money coming in.
Yeah.
Until your employer healthcare can kick in for you.
That's so good.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Girl, I am seeing and I'm hearing, and I'm gonna
And
come
it's
back and watch
important.
this so I
And
can hear it again.
it's very important. We're not talking about
Yeah,
it. So when we're having these Zoom meetings, because we don't have to be in each other's face,
yeah.
we could all be on the screen. Zoom take up to 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. You can have 99 people on that Zoom. And you can have all your aunties, uncles, cousins, Pookie and them, Ray Ray and them, all of them can be on. And we need to ask, raise your hand if you don't have a life insurance policy, an active one. And somebody need to be taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody in your family should have a policy, because it's not fair to leave other people with the financial burden of your death. And if you have a big family and people don't even live in the state, people got to fly out. You got to fly grandma. Like, we know we might have to fly people out from different countries. You should 100% have the life insurance policy. For sure.
Mm.
For sure. You should have the long-term care. You should have some form of a disability insurance. And did you even know that you can even they're called riders on your life insurance policy? You can put the long-term care rider on the life insurance policy.
What do you mean?
Meaning, you can have a whole life policy. This is what you would do with the whole life policy.
Yeah.
You have the whole life policy, and then you put the riders on there. Like, you can put your children on there,
Okay.
and it'll be like up to 25. Some policies up to 30,000 for the child. You can also put the long-term care rider, meaning that if something happens to you in your life where you require long-term care, you
Mm-hmm.
can get up to 70%, up to 80% of your death benefit in cash given to you right then and there, so you can pay for your illness or your disability while you are living.
Mm.
And meaning, um, let me not even say and in meaning. I'll give you a personal testimony.
Okay.
When I was first doing life insurance, like 8 years ago, when I first started, I was going to all my family members and I was like, hey, life insurance, life insurance. And nobody was like really trying to have a conversation with me. And my godfather, who I love so much, he's married to my aunt.
Yeah.
And their house was already paid off. So they didn't feel that they needed life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't feel they needed it because, my aunt, she's very financially savvy. And she had already purchased the funeral plots. And that's another thing, to purchase funeral plots, because you can purchase it for like $20 a month right now and just be paying for it. And you already have your casket, you have your plot, you already have the funeral arrangements taken care of. So she felt like she had it for her and her husband. They don't need it, whatever. And I was like, no, you need it, because even when you're living, if something happens to you, you can take from the death benefit. No. And you don't have to have a whole life policy. It can be a term policy, because Primerica does that. Primerica, you can have a term policy with them. That's all they sell, but you can put the long-term care benefit on it. And if you get sick or something happens, you can take up to, I think, like 70 or 80% of the money. So my godfather, he got sick and he had pancreatic cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because they were entrepreneurs and they had already left their jobs and they were working for themselves, there was no employer sponsored health insurance or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they were dealing with terminal illness, pancreatic cancer. And we all know, once you get diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, that's like a few years. They had to deal with everything on their own. And my goddaddy, I remember he came and talked to me and he was like, Stefanie, let me ask you a question. And I'm like, yeah, goddaddy, what's up? He's like, if I have get that assurance, they would have paid for my medical bill now. And I did not want to tell him yes. I didn't want to tell him yes. They would have paid for a nurse to come. They would have paid for everything. And he was like, no, you can tell me. It's okay. You can tell me. And I'm like, oh, God, daddy, I don't get this. Like, let's just leave that conversation. He was like, tell me. And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, how much they pay? how much they would have given me. And I was like, I think like up to 72%. And I can use it for anything. Yeah. And he was like, you know, remember you was telling me to get the assurance. I don't listen. I shall get the assurance. Now I have to spend all that money with my wife and everybody have to come take care of me. And I'm like, it's okay, God Daddy, let's just move forward. He was like, I'm going to tell everybody to get the assurance. And I remember before he died, he was telling everybody to get the assurance. He was like, go to my goddaughter, get the assurance, get the assurance.
Assurance, baby.
Right. And basically what he realized was, had he just had that policy, had he gotten the policy, he, even if he would have, let's say, had 100,000, he would have been able to take $72,000, $76,000 of the death benefit, and he would have been able to use it in his life. And when he died, he would have just got the difference, the remaining, the 20-something thousand or 30,000. So it's so important that we have these things, because we die and we leave other people in financial stress. We leave them with a financial burden. And it's not easy for people to get over that hump of spending $40,000 on a funeral. And then when we spend money that we don't have on a funeral, and then the funeral looks a little cheesy, or the funeral looks a little humble, then people talk about us and they say, dang, that's how they buried their mama. Well, we didn't have money to bury moms. We didn't have money to bury uncle or grandma. And so now you're talking crap about the people who were left with the financial responsibility, or the funeral, the burial responsibility. And these people didn't even have the money for that. And a lot of people don't even contribute. You understand? And that's a stressful thing. So now I have to grieve, and I have to bury my daddy, and I don't have the money, and I can't even grieve properly because people talking crap. I'm dealing with all the finances. I still have to work. I still have to take care of my. These are the things that we don't think about, and the burdens that we place on other people, which is why we need to talk about it when everybody's alive. And so everybody could put together money towards the insurance.
Yes.
You see what I'm trying to say? Like, that makes sense, right?
It makes 100% sense. Like,
it makes sense. And if you get it younger, it will be less expensive.
Yeah.
And these prices are locked in for the duration of the policy. It's not like it's going to change. So why not just get it now? I will say term does increase. So you got to get level term so that it doesn't increase. Level term is more expensive than regular term, but at least you know it's locked in.
Miss Black Florida. And what is level term, please?
Level term is just what the name is. It just means that the term premium will stay leveled. It will never go up or down. If you get a term policy, term policies are typically cheaper. If you get a term policy over the years, it's going to blow up. It's going to blow up. Okay. So you have to ask them for a level term, and you have to make sure that the price that you're getting for that term is cheaper. I mean, it stays like that. Not to confuse the term policies that increase because of inflation. So you have some policies that every year they do cost a few more dollars. That's not what I'm talking about. Those cost a few more dollars is because if I buy a term policy today at $300,000, 30 years from now, $300,000 is not going to be worth the same. So it's just going to go up in premium so that it can keep up with the cost of inflation. So that maybe my policy 30 years from now is not $300,000, it might be $475,000.
Okay. Ad break. Are you seeking an electrifying speaker to ignite transformation in your audience? Well, look no further. Hi, I'm Davone'a Touche, real estate investor, Air Force veteran, and host of the Conscious Courage podcast, where new episodes are released every Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via YouTube and all streaming audio platforms. I specialize in delivering impactful keynote speeches that inspire change and elevate your minds. Whether it's a virtual gathering or an in-person event, I bring passion, expertise, and a unique delivery to every arena or every environment that I'm in. Let's captivate your audience together and create an unforgettable experience. Contact me today to book your next event, and let's embark on this journey of transformation, or let's get all of your attendees on this journey toward internal glow up. You can book me via my website by going to www.davonetashay.com. I'll spell that for you. It is www.DAV as in Victor, ONEATASHAE.com. I look forward to connecting with you. Take care.
That's different from your premium today. You started at $10, but your premium in the next 30 years is $3,000.
Okay.
Okay. So you just want to make sure you get like a level term so it can just stay a flat rate. Now, you have some families that, okay, they need to get an insurance. They need to have something because they don't have anything. And then they just get a regular term because you can convert term to whole life. And it's just something to have in the meantime, in between time. And that's okay. Yeah.
So good. Now, oh my gosh.
Okay. I
just that was over here.
Insurances.
Did you brain dump everything that you have, sis?
We talked about term.
Yeah.
Level term that you can convert to whole life. We talked about whole life. We talked about taking money from the cash value to live life. We talked about your retirement life from the cash value. We talked about long-term care insurance. We talked about disability insurance and your emergency savings, and
being able to purchase a home through the elderly.
Using your cash value to purchase your home, or your cash value to pay for somebody's college dorm, because we want them to really use scholarships, but we'll talk about that in the education piece. But I think we cover what we needed to cover about life insurance, but basically being open with having the mentality that we want to monetize death and get away from monetizing the other things. I don't want you to bleep me out again, so I'm not going to say what I really want to say, but you know what I'm going to say.
Yes. So I love it. And I have to give you your flowers, y'all. Okay. As I mentioned in the beginning, I met Stefanie in 2023. That's when I lived in South Florida. And she pulled me aside. We didn't deep dive in like we are right now, or even when we had our 4-hour-long deliverance. But she told me about life insurance. We got on a call. She put me in contact with, I don't want to misspeak, I don't know if he was an agent that you knew or whatever the case may be. And
one of my colleagues.
There we go, a colleague. And I walked away and I did not invest because I didn't believe what I was hearing. Education. It was my first time ever hearing it. And I was like, this sounds too good to be true. There's no way people are out here borrowing money from their life insurance. No, thank you. Like I heard it, but I didn't hear it to invest. I heard it, thank you, but no thank you in that I'm not investing. 2 years later, because now we're in 2024, I joined a coaching program. And what are they talking about? Life insurance. Baby, when I tell you I must have jumped all over it, I said, hold on. Stefanie already planted the seed in 2022. I didn't believe you when you sent that woman to talk to me. I am a believer now, and now I'm going to get into it. So good, ma'am. I want to say thank you for your willingness to share. Not that this conversation is over, but thank you for your willingness to share. I apologize because you came to me with the information and I didn't act on it. So I so appreciate you. And I'm just going to apologize for being one of those people who got the information and didn't use it at the time because of ignorance. No, I'm going to
apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. You did not do anything wrong. I am so grateful for how humble you are and how transparent you are, because, you know, sometimes we don't like to say that. We don't like to say, you know what, this person tried to put the bag. I brushed them off. I want to share this with you. What you just did, it just touches my heart so much. But You're not the only person who does that. Again, these were not conversations that we grew up with. These were not kitchen table conversations. In other households, these are conversations at the kitchen table. Little Billy grew up with seeing the insurance man come to his parents' house because little Billy works with the same insurance man, because the insurance man is more than likely their financial planner, and their financial planner deals with their annuities, deals with their insurance, deals with their like everything, with their investments, their stocks. Every quarter they get a letter from the financial planner because it's showing them the statement of their stock investments. So by the time little Billy is your age, we're gonna call him Billy Jr. now.
Yeah.
Billy Jr., big boy Billy, he already knows that he has to talk to Mr. Walker. Okay. Because he has been seeing Mr. Walker since he couldn't even run. Since he was in the stroller, he was seeing Mr. Walker because Mr. Walker had a life insurance on little Billy. And when little Billy got older and was a teenager and he was going through the mail, he used to see Mr. Walker's mail coming. And Big Billy now, who is your age, already understands that when the daddy and the mom dies, that he's going to get a large lump sum of money. And you know how he knows? Because his parents have no problem with saying, Billy, if you don't get good grades, I'm cutting you out the will. If you go and follow your dreams and do that dream job that makes no money, I'm cutting you out my will. So Billy over here mad because he's a doctor and he really didn't want to be a doctor. He wanted to be an art teacher probably. But his parents said the day you go be an art teacher, you are getting cut out this will. Because the parents understand the importance of keeping the generational wealth and the jobs and things that need to be done. So Billy, when he hears from me, you know what he's going to tell me when I talk to him? He's going to say, thank you, ma'am, for the conversation, but I already have somebody. I'm going to use my dad's people. So I don't want you to be sorry for something that is not your fault. I want you to be proud that you're surrounded by people. That should be a testament to you that you're surrounding yourself around people that's giving you good information, even if you understood it was good or not at the time, because now you are in another group that's giving you good information. And now all you got to do was validate what you heard from before to say, you know what? That girl really, she knows something. And that is probably why you and I even connect more the way we connect now, because I'm just saying the stuff that now people are telling you and you're like, okay, I can hang with her because she's talking like the people in my group. And I already know how you are. Birds of a feather flock together. You're not going to be talking to nobody who's not talking good or speaking into good. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. So, friend, sister, queen, you don't have to apologize. I'm just so happy for you. And I want us to use this moment to celebrate. Now, the only thing I will tell you, and I'm not trying to throw salt in the wound. Your premium is more expensive now because 2 years ago it would have been cheaper. That's it.
Y'all better catch it. Y'all better catch it, baby. Y'all better catch it.
Then, so you don't pay more now. I have seen some people working with people. I have seen people that I have reached out to, and it's part of the job. It's part of the job, okay? It's part of the job that people will tell you no, and a good rep, a good salesperson. We're salespeople at the end of the day. If we're really good, we'll just come back and we'll follow up and we'll follow up and we'll keep talking about it, right? I have seen some people who denied it then, and when they finally decided a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years later that they were going to get it, a new condition came up and they didn't qualify. So that's the other thing you want to be careful for, that I don't want it. Or some people say, I can't afford it. If you can't afford life insurance, then you can't afford to have somebody die. So we got to think about that. If you can't afford the life insurance policy, you're not going to be able to afford the death.
Yeah.
Or if I'm the mom and I need the life insurance on me to leave for my children, and I'm saying that I can't afford an extra $20, $30, $40, $100 a month, then I can't afford for me to die because my kids won't be able to live. You see what I'm saying? Like, And we have to put in that perspective. So if I can't afford it, that means I need it and I should get it right now.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So good. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Hallelujah. Gonna have me speaking in our heavenly language. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm going to be right there with you.
So that was
Okay.
phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Listen, people pay. Okay, people pay Stefanie for this. People pay Miss Black Florida USA 2024 for this kind of information, y'all. And she is dropping gems. Praise her. May the Lord bless her back, not only sevenfold, tenfold, but 100-fold. Okay.
Oh, I receive it in the name of Jesus.
Yes, we're going to agree on that because this is such a blessing. So we're transitioning. We have 2 topics left.
Okay.
And this here topic is about estate planning and the importance of wills. So take it away because I don't even need to ask additional questions, baby. Take it away. Take it away.
Oh my gosh. Estate planning. This is something that also needs to be in that little Zoom reunion call. Yeah. I feel like everything we're talking about needs to be in that Zoom family reunion.
How about they just play this here? Run this here episode, okay?
Run it back. Just run it back.
Run the episode back.
Estate planning is something that when we don't do it, it costs our family. It just costs our family. So estate planning, your estate, and I just go, your estate is your assets. Okay. So you're just planning for how your assets are going to be distributed in the event of your death. That's it. We can plan to make the money. So right now in our culture, and when I'm saying our culture, I mean Black. In the Black culture, there's this thing of like, I got to get the bag. I got to get to the bag. I got to get to the bag. I need the money. I got to get the coin. We just talked about how we truly secure the bag through the life insurances, right? But now we need to plan how to divvy up that bag after you die. And we're not doing that. So what happens is because you didn't plan what happens to the money, the state takes the money and does what they want to do with it. And they keep it for themselves. Or they say, well, we'll give this amount to this person. And you don't want that to happen. How many times have you heard celebrities dying? They didn't have a will, meaning they didn't have a secure estate plan together. They didn't have the will. And now their kids are fighting with the state to get the money and somebody else is claiming the money. No. You need to have proper estate planning by having a will. And all a will is a document that says, this is where this money is going to. This is who it's going to. This is how much is going to go to that person. That's it. Basically, for all my control freaks out there, you get to control your money even in your death.
Who's she talking to? No.
What? Because we got a lot of control freaks. I don't know. If the shoe fit, wear it. If it don't wear it.
Yes.
But for all the people that like to control things and you like things to go like this, you could still do that in the casket, baby.
Talk to them.
You could still control them kids from the grave. Hello. Oh, yes, you can. You can. I know people in college right now. If you ask them, why are you in college? Because it says in the will that in order for me to get this amount of money that my dad left for me upon his death, I have to have an MBA. Hello. So you have children right now that they can't touch money until, and they have to have a certain GPA. They can't touch the money until they get the degree, and they have to have a GPA that goes with that degree. You see what I'm saying? So you need to have a will. The will needs to say, this is how much money from the life insurance death benefit of the $1 million that I have. This is how much money goes to child A. This is how much money goes to child B. This is how much money goes to child C. This is where I want the money to be placed in. I want the money that goes to child A, B, and C to be placed in a stock investment. I want the money to be placed in an annuity. I want it to be placed in a mutual fund. I want them to open up a brokerage account. I want a house purchase, and the house must be making this amount of money. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what your wills can do. I want my clothes to go to my first daughter, my second daughter. She talked too much crap. She always says she ain't like my clothes, so she don't get my clothes, but she get my jewelry. You don't want people fighting over you and your things and your items and your assets after death. I want my funeral to look like this. I want my funeral to look like that. And it just needs to be written. That's what your will can do. Your will can also say, I want my children to go here. Because I don't know if you know, but in the state of Florida, if you have a minor child and that child and you die, the parent dies, the child don't automatically go to the next of kin. If it's not the father or the mother, they become a ward of the state. Children in Florida become property of the state.
Wow.
And the state will determine who that child is going to, because they don't just say, oh, we're going to send it to the grandma that want them the most. No. Your child will be placed in foster care, and then the state has to go through the process of determining who is best fit to take care of that child. Because what if grandma got crazy uncle who like to touch on kids living in the house? What if the other grandma got all kind of felons and criminals living in the house? So the child does not just get up and go to auntie because that's her favorite auntie. No, what if the auntie is not in a place to take care of a child?
Yeah.
So the state will take the child. The child is now owned by the state. It's property of the state. The child now is in foster care until the state determines who is best fit to take care of this child. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a lot of strange things that can happen in foster care from the time the court gets the child in the system until the time the child gets out.
Yes.
And that's an unfortunate experience for a child to have. And we know the things that can happen in foster care, right? And those things that happen in foster care to a child is not erasable. You can't erase that experience from that child. That's imprinted in that child's mind for the rest of their life and can ultimately change the trajectory of their life. That one experience that we know that I don't even want to say here. I'm not even going to say it, but we already know. All because you did not have a will. You didn't have a piece of paper that says, if I die and a daddy died, I want him to go to this auntie. And if this auntie's not available, I want him to go to this person. And if they're not available, these are called contingencies.
Yes.
So if it can't go to auntie A, the contingency plan is auntie B. If not auntie B, auntie C. If not, like, you need to bring it all the way down.
That's good.
And we need to do these things. And it's so unfortunate because we don't know and we can't do anything after we die. And the child can't do anything and nobody can do anything. So wills are so important. Wills are so important. You know your child have a little spending issue. So you can't give the child the death benefit from the money lump sum. You need to have the will that says, I want the child to get $3,000 a month. I want the child to purchase a home. The home should cost X amount of money. The house should be paid off. The bills are this. Therefore, the child should get X amount of percentage coming in per month, X amount of monthly stipend for this amount of years. The child must be in a college. The degrees must be X, Y, and Z. At that time, after the child has finished their bachelor's in business, the child can get $50,000 lump sum to start a business. These are the different businesses child can start. Here is money for the child to hire a manager to help with the business. I don't know. You can be as creative as you want with the will.
Yeah.
But it's important to have the will.
Have it.
It's important. And this is where I know we're off of insurance, but when you get your life insurance, you make sure you get enough to cover the cost of the house. Because how many times have people died and now they come take the house?
That's good.
So if your house is worth $500,000, you should have at least enough to cover the house, to pay off the house so the house is not lost in your death. You don't want your children to have to pay taxes on obtaining properties or obtaining things from you, and now they have to sell a house just so they could pay the inheritance tax. You don't want that to happen. So you need that insurance, because you could take the death benefit from the insurance. It's tax-free. You could pay off the taxes, because if my child inherits a house from me, my child pays a tax. But if my child doesn't have money up front to pay for that tax, now my child might have to sell the house to pay for all the taxes of all the things I left for them. But if I have a grandchild, I could leave the stuff to my grandchild, and grandchildren do not pay inheritance tax. And the Bible set us up for that, because the Bible said that you're supposed to be working for your children's children. So the Bible have the tax code sheet, the cheat sheet. I think so, because that's what the Bible said. The Bible don't say that.
The Bible does say that. Okay, baby, a good man, he gonna leave an inheritance for his children's children. Hello, yes.
I think
it's
they
you saying that the Bible got the tax cheat code for me.
Yeah, it does. I think they said it without saying it, but they couldn't say it.
Yeah,
you feel me? I think so. What they didn't put in the Bible was, if you do that, your children's children won't have to pay the state taxes on that income. And it's true. So
Lord,
when you put everything in the grandchild's name, now watch this. If we follow the instruction of the Bible that say you should work to leave an inheritance for your children's children, that means I'm not working for my kids. I'm working for my grandkids, right? I skipped a generation, right?
Dang, girl.
Right? You follow me? I want you to follow me.
I'm following you.
Okay, so let's say each generation is working for the children's children. That means I'm not working for Maya and Jonathan. I'm working for their kids. Therefore, that gives Maya and Jonathan, when they have children, to work and do everything they have to do, so that by the time they have grandkids, they can now take care of their grandkids, because their children was really taken care of by me
already.
Because when you look at the age of when people become millionaires, it's not in their 20s. Historically, it'd be in their 50s. Historically, millionaires are created in about their 50s. And this was pre-social media. And, now there's ways to make income. But let's just go old days. Old days, you didn't really become a millionaire until you were about in your 50s. So if I'm working for my children's children, when my kids have their kids, I can focus on my grandbabies and spoil my grandbabies and take care of my grandbabies. And my kids will now just be in their career, right? Because we have children around the same time we start our careers. So let's just go back a little bit, because I want you guys to be in my mind, and my mind's super creative. So you can get lost in this space, in this ADHD space. In this, it's a gifted genius. And I shout out to all the ADHD people. It's a level of genius that other people can't understand.
Okay.
The neurodivergence, and I'm for real on that. So shout out to all my neurodivergent people. Like, we're here and I see you.
Listen, hold on. I'm not going to go into it, but during our 4-hour conversation, and we went and read Proverbs 31, baby, let me tell Miss Black Florida, I just love her. That's all I'm going to say, because she is a trip and I love it. Okay, go ahead.
So watch this. You get out of high school at about 18 years old, right?
Yeah.
Traditionally, we're talking about tradition. I don't want to talk about, but people on YouTube being millionaire. We ain't talking about them lucky, blessed people. We talking about average, regular people. Historically, this is what was happening.
Yeah.
You finish high school around 17, 18, 19. You're in college. Probably get your bachelor's around 21, 22. You go off to grad school. So maybe by like 23, 24, you're a working professional. We agree on that, right?
Yes.
24, 25, you're this working professional. If you went into like law school, med school, you're probably a working professional, actually making the money that you're supposed to be making from your education, maybe between 27 and 30. At the same time, you're probably marrying the person that you met in grad school or at the end of your education, or somebody like right around when you finished, right around when you started your new job. So around your 28, 29, 30 is when the women's biological clock is ticking. They're married, they're having kids. 28, 29, 30, right? You didn't have time to be a millionaire from 20 to 30, but you still had kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you're new in your career. So you having them kids, but you're not really making the money yet. You're building on the money. So if your parents were taking care of your kids, what are you going to be doing with the money you're making? Stacking, investing, making that money work for you. So although you're working for money, you're only working for money so you could flip the money and make it work for you so that you can get to that millions. Because you don't have to worry about taking care of those kids for real, because your parents are taking care of the children's children.
Yes.
So you didn't have to buy the kids certain things because your grandparents have been spoiling them. Their grandparents buy their clothes. Their grandparents do all of that. You have several households that just because you get married doesn't mean you move out of the house. So you have households in which the children still live with their parents, and the parents allow their children to save money before they leave. And they say, no, you stay here with my grandkids and you guys can leave. And let me tell you something, you have other races of people that when they leave their parents' house with the wife and the husband and the kids, they have 100,000 cash. You see what I'm trying to say? They're not paying for their own wedding because grandma had the whole life policy that we talked about in the last segment, and she took from the cash value and she paid for that wedding because she want to make sure that she's the favorite Grammy or Gammy or whoever. So she made sure that she was the favorite and she paid her way for that favorite position. Okay. Because your wedding is fierce, honey. Your wedding is amazing. You have the best dress because grandma was not wasting any time. She did not have to like penny pin. She didn't have to do any of that. She got you whatever her grandbaby wanted. She got it. And you're driving a nice car because she wanted to make sure the other grandma know that it's her and it's always her. I'm going to be one of them grandmas. Just so we're clear.
I can tell. I felt that.
I'm going to be the favorite grandma because, baby, when I buy gifts, none of them grandmas could come with it. None of them. You're going to love that other grandma because of love, because she probably cooked for you. But me, yes. So think about it in that way.
Yeah.
So now this family, now they're in their 40s, 50s. Their money has built. Their money is growing. Now their kids are adults now. Now the money is there, and what are they doing now? They're taking care of the kids, and they don't feel bad because everything that they didn't get to do for their own children, it doesn't matter because they got to do it for their grandkids.
Yeah.
What's happening today in the Black family is we have to take care of us, we have to take care of our children and possibly grandchildren. So we're taking care of 3 generations on money that's not even barely enough for one. How are we going to bridge the wealth gap like that? So in order for us to be financially okay, we're going to either have to do a few things. Doesn't mean it's right, but we're going to either have to make more money so we could afford all 3. We're going to have to either cut back and somebody's not going to be taken care of. But once we do that, we're not really following what the word says we're supposed to do. And that's just a technicality. We're not trying to be bad. We're not trying to be disobedient. We really just can't afford to take care of our children's children.
Yeah.
Because we're still trying to take care of ourselves. So what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to focus more on not becoming the first people to do it, but setting up everybody else in a position where they can do it after us. And if it allows us to also be first, cool, but we got to take a little bit of the pride out, because there's a pride in us when we say, well, I want to be the first millionaire. No, you may have to be the person that sets up everybody after you to be millionaires. And that's okay, because that's what rich in spirit is, right?
Yes.
So if we're rich in mentality, we're rich in spirit, we can create millionaires. That's what a real boss does. I mean, that's what Jay-Z said. I'm just saying, he said a boss creates bosses.
Yes.
So instead of focusing on being a millionaire, let's focus on creating them.
I want to insert the word because that was so good. So it's Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22 that says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the sinner's wealth is laid up for the righteous. Or you can read it as, a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. So I just wanted to make sure, because baby is not only bringing education, okay? She's bringing the word. And so I just wanted to get the scripture in itself so that people can go and read it and not feel as if she's over here making up stuff. No, no, sir, no, ma'am. This is real word.
Yeah, I'm a word baby. Bringing word. I was raised in the word. The word has raised me, and the word is in me. The word is in me, and I really live a lot by the word. So I joke a lot. I kiki. It's comedy, and it's light, to keep things light. But yet, when I say the word says, I mean it, and I mean it with all my heart, because I know that's what the word says, because I saw it with my own eyes. I read it, right? And so I'm really trying to get to a place where I can leave an inheritance for my children's children.
Good.
I'm not all the way there yet, but these are the things that we have to do. So we set up that life insurance, because that life insurance policy that we set up when both of those kids are getting $1 million, right? That's setting up an inheritance to set them on a place where, okay, my grandkids are going to be okay. And when I have the house, and when I'm putting in the house, as soon as a grandbaby drop, I know to switch the beneficiary and to put the house in the grandchild. Because now watch this. Black people, we love to kick our babies out when they turn 18, talking about, oh, y'all grown. That's a very Black American thing. And I say that because there's a difference in how Black people from other countries raise their kids versus what I see in the Black American culture. In the Black American culture, I see a lot of, oh, they 18, they could go, they're on their own, da, 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 da. In the Haitian culture, when you're 18, you're still a child. I don't kick you out. First of all, the girls don't leave until really they get married. They don't leave until they get married. And to be honest with you, you and your husband, y'all don't have to go. Y'all can stay right here. Like, we really preserve the girls. Okay. If you see a girl and she's on her own at 18, 19, you already know there was turmoil in the house. There was something that happened in the house for where she couldn't stay. But for the most part, the girls, they stay with us and they don't leave until they get married. So if I have my house and it's in the kid's name, now the kids have a kid, it's okay for me to put in the grandbaby name. That doesn't mean I'm moving away from the daughter. No, because that grandbaby is going to stay in the house with their mother. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, that child has to, that child can't even get the house in their name really until they're 18.
Right.
Somebody has to be over that. So who do you think is going to be over that? My daughter.
Yeah.
You see,
yeah, she still inherits. She still benefits. She still reaps the benefits. Yes.
We just have to understand the cheat codes, the loopholes. I don't got to put it in Maya's name. I could put it in Maya's child's name. Yeah. And Maya is the person, is the proxy over that child for 18 years. So baby, guess what? Maya's in charge for the next 18 years while you have this house that grandma left y'all. So if the house is paid off and my grandbaby get to stay in that paid off house and her guardian has to take care of her in that stayed off house.
Yeah.
What bills Maya paying? Nothing. So Maya still now gets to do what I initially set for her to do. Work for her children's children. work for her grandchild because mama already took care of
Good.
it. Even though mama didn't get to see it physically, I see it right now because we're visionaries. So I can envision that when I get this life insurance
That's so
policy
good.
and it pays this house, I can see it in my head how my daughter will be living and how her children will be living. I don't need to physically see it. It doesn't need to be tangible
Yeah.
because it's in my head. I already know if I plant an apple seed, the tree that's going to grow is going to be an apple tree. I don't
Yeah.
expect an orange tree when I planted apple seeds.
Mm.
I don't need to wait till the tree grows up out the ground and then I have to see apples on it to know that it's an apple tree. It's an apple tree when I sowed apple seeds.
Yes.
So when I sowed the seed of the life insurance, bought the house, made sure that the insurance would pay off the house, I already know what fruit is going to bear from that transaction that I sold, from the seed that I sold.
So good.
You get it? So I did my job. And
Oh
now
my goodness.
Maya and Jonathan, they get to work on my
So good.
grandbabies that I probably never met. They get to work on them because it's still going to happen no matter if I'm here or not. It's life is still going to move on. So I have to make sure in my will I designate things because what if the parent passes when the child is a baby? The child's not going to know this information that we're seeing, that we're
Yeah.
talking about right now. But if I put it in the will, that is a directive from when I'm long in the grave. The will is the manual instruction. The word of God, the Bible, that was like a will. It told us how he wanted us to be. It told us what he wanted us to do. In this will, we just get to pass on assets. That's all. We're just leaving an instruction, basic instructions before leaving earth. They say that's the
it.
acronym for the Bible.
For the Bible, yes,
Your
ma'am. That's
will
it.
is just basic instructions to your family before, after you leave this earth. That's all.
So
That's what
good.
the will is for. So I think it's so important that everybody gets a will. The other part of the will is a living will. This was a
Yeah.
will for when you die. We need to have wills in place for while we are alive, because what happens if you get in an accident and you're in a state of a coma or you're a vegetative state and
Yeah.
you can't make decisions for yourself? Do you know how many families financially suffer because the person that's supposed to make the decision cannot? So if you have a living will, you get to direct how things should be, how things should go. How do you want things? Who's going to have money? Who's going to have the power of attorney? Who's going to be medically responsible for you? We need to establish who our healthcare proxy is. Like, who's the person that determines what medical treatment I get? Should I do that surgery or should I not? Because I'm in a coma right now, and the doctor needs to ask, what do you want us to do? If they do the surgery, there's a 20% chance that they live. If we don't, there's a 20% chance that they'll be in a vegetative state for the rest of their life until they die. What do you want us to do? Who do you have that's going to make that decision for you?
Right.
I'm telling you right now, it's a lot of people in my family. I don't want them to make that decision for me because they just don't have the acumen for that. They don't have the knowledge that they need for that. Maybe there's some people that you're going to say they're too emotional to make that decision. Maybe some people, they're flimsy and flip-floppy and wishy-washy, and somebody gonna come tell them something, and you know what, that cousin didn't even like me anyway, and now she gonna go tell this person. No. I don't want them to make that decision. I want my niece that's a nurse practitioner to make the decision for me because she in medical. I want my homegirl that's the doctor. I want her to be my healthcare proxy, and I want her to be the person that speaks to my parents so they can direct my parents on what to do with me in the event that I can't make medical decisions for myself. As a matter of fact, I want my homegirl who's the pharmacist, and I want my other homegirl who's the doctor, and I want them to talk about what I can and can't do, because I need the drug doctor and the medical doctor to be on the same page of what medications I can and can't take, and then y'all can let my mom speak on my behalf.
That's so good.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Who's in charge of, who's allowed to go into your bank account and get the money to pay the bills?
Hold that thought. Who's in charge?
Who is in charge? Who's going to be in charge of paying those bills?
Yes.
if you're in the hospital for 6 months.
I love the way you broke that down. And immediately, so as I look at life, I think immediate family. But in your example, you gave the girlfriend that's a doctor, the other girl being meaning friend that's a female,
Yeah, for
for the
sure.
world to understand.
Correct.
And when you say the pharmacist or the doctor or even your niece who's a nurse practitioner, it doesn't have to be the immediate.
No, it does not.
And I think that's so good.
I don't want an immediate family member who is not experienced in this subject
Yeah.
matter over the bestie who is.
That's so good. So, so good.
If you don't have options, you got to go with what you got.
Mm.
But if I have a cousin who's a nurse or a doctor over my mom who is a customer service provider, I'm sorry, little cousin gonna have to step up.
Yeah.
And we have to be okay with that. And we have to be so okay with it that we have to allow people to operate in their scope of profession if they can to help us. And we have to stop wanting to take charge of things that is not our area of expertise. If there is a medical person in the family, that person should be the person that's making these medical decisions for everybody in the family. Sit down, Mom. Daddy, sit down. Thank you for what you have done for us,
Sit
but
down.
that
Be
girl
humble.
school for 10
Sit down.
years. That girl got $200,000 worth of debt to come. She has earned the
Yes.
privilege to be able to say, should I take this medicine or not? Not you reading off of YouTube.
Ooh. Chat GPT.
I'm just saying, like, we got to be okay with that. And we got to
That's for real.
normalize not making people feel bad when we have to step down. Don't make my cousin feel bad for her being the doctor. Oh, she thinks she all of that. She is all of that. She a doctor. And let her be that.
Yes.
And when it comes to the finances, I understand that you're the patriarch of the family. Okay, thank you. But you have real financial people in the family that do this for a living. Let them speak about the subject matter. I understand what you've been doing for the last 30 years, but I had to pay for my own school. So that means what you did for the last 30 years didn't financially work.
Ooh.
Respectfully, right? So let's try somebody new who actually works in this field that maybe can help us more than what you have done. And we have to understand that that's not being disrespectful. And the elders need to allow us to grow too without them making us feel like we're disrespecting them. It's a dual street. The young people are not disrespecting you, and you need to not think we are.
Yes.
Because you keeping us in bondage, and that's why we're staying in poverty. That's another topic. So we need to know, if I can't pay my bills because I'm in the hospital, who is my power of attorney over my bank account? Who has the authority to go get the money from the bank account so they could pay the bills? We also should not be so secret. We're so secretive. Oh, I don't want them kids in my business. Well, you need to pick a kid that's going to be in your business, because if something happens to you, somebody needs to step up.
Yes. That's good.
My 19-year-old daughter is on my bank account. We share all of the bank accounts. Whatever I have, she knows if I have it or not, because she can go in the bank account. We need to stop being scared to tell our children we don't have it, and stop being scared to show them what we actually have, especially when you're building. My daughter that is 19 is on my bank account. And so guess what? When I went away to basic training, remember, I didn't have access to my phone for 2 months. Maya paid all the bills. And I gave other people in my family access to a spreadsheet of all my bills to help her navigate them. There was no time for me to be, oh, I don't want my homegirl to know what I got. No, she needs to know what I got. So when she asked me if I say I ain't got it, she know, because she saw it. We need to be transparent. And Maya, she paid those bills. She saw it and she had a new respect for money. She was like, Mom, like, I get it now. She said, Mom, you pay a lot of bills. And I was like, yeah, girl. So when you come to me and you ask me for money, sometimes you make me feel really bad to tell you no because I want to give you everything. But sometimes you ask for so much all the time. Can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? And you put me in a predicament where I give it to you maybe if I don't have it, or I have to tell you no. And just in me telling you no, sometimes it makes me feel bad. It's shameful for
Mm.
me to say no. And you put me in these situations because you don't understand how money goes. And you don't understand I'm building and I'm picking up for what my grandparents didn't leave you. Right now, I'm not supposed to be working for you. I'm supposed to be working for your kids, but I got to work for your kids, you and me. Because my grandparents, they ain't leave me nothing. So I'm working for 3 generations right now. So I don't have it like that. But I don't want to feel judged by my kid because I
Yeah.
don't have it like that, because you might be competing with other people that you see and you might be trying to live their lifestyle, but maybe their parents is not trying to work for the grandkids. I'm not working just for
I'm just
me
put it
and
right
you. I'm
now.
working
Right.
for me, you, and your child that I don't even know. I'm working for a human being that I don't even know. You see what I'm saying? So if I tell you I don't have it, I don't have it. But I don't have it because I want to make sure that
Mm.
when your kids get older, when they want it, I'm able
Mhm.
to give to them so you can hold on for the next generation.
That is so good, y'all. Oh my goodness. That is so good. Estate planning, baby, life insurance, real estate.
Yeah,
What
it's
what what
important.
haven't you what haven't you dropped yet? Like what gym haven't we, well, I know the last topic,
The
girl.
last one,
I know the last topic, but I'm
which is
just
the
like,
catalyst to all of them.
yes.
It's
So,
my
and
favorite.
that there in all of it, we're going to summarize is education and
Yes.
empowerment. The Conscious Courage podcast, we're all about internal glow up, and that looks like
Yes.
growth mindset, that looks like your relationship with God, that looks like
Yes.
empowerment. So,
Yes.
thank you as you take us out with this last topic, empowerment as well as education. Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead. Go
So
ahead.
with the education,
Yes.
I'm hearing this new culture saying about, oh, you don't need a college degree, you don't need education, you don't need this, you don't need that. I don't like that communication to Black people, because the last time education was withheld from us, we were slaves for 400 years. So I
Mm.
don't feel comfortable when I hear people saying, oh, you don't need this, you don't need that. Yes, you do. I never feel comfortable for somebody to say you don't need to go to college.
Mhm.
No, because let's look at it this way. Yes, yes, you can not go to college and you can make a living and make a certain amount of money without having gone to college. But the reality of it, in general, most of the careers out there require you to have a certain credential, right? Most of the careers that make 6 figures and up, you need some kind of credential. And most of those credentials are found at the graduate and doctoral level of education.
Mhm.
If you are going to be a medical doctor, in order for you to be a doctor, you have to get in medical school, right?
Yes.
In order to get in medical school, you have to have a bachelor's, right?
Yes.
Oh, so what do you mean don't go to college?
Right.
How are you going to be the doctor if you don't go to get your bachelor's, which is the prerequisite to get into medical school?
I didn't know if I want to say pause, question, or what.
Go for it.
Listen, bring in the stats as it pertains to someone seeking the NFL, so the
Oh,
professional
I'm going to go
athletic
into
career.
all of
You
that.
go, you get okay,
I
okay.
promise you. I know that's your
Yeah, it's so
favorite
good.
topic. I'm
Okay.
going to go into that. But I
Yes.
want to preface, I want to
Okay.
set the people up,
Yes.
because sometimes if we give them too much without preparing them for it, it's too hard to digest. I want to make this so easy to digest on the stomach so it can rest in the
Okay.
soul right
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
right? If you are going to be an attorney, you have to go into law school, right? What's the requisite for law school?
A bachelor's. You have to,
Oh,
yeah,
where do
a
you find a bachelor's at?
college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I receive you telling me not to go to college, that I could do whatever and I don't have to go to college, I already just took out certain career fields. Just by me not going to college, I already cannot be a doctor. I already cannot be an attorney. I already cannot be a teacher or a professor. I already cannot do certain jobs because certain jobs you have to have those credentials. See what I'm saying? Now,
Yes.
when I do go to college, I appreciate the efforts of the Black community of us being able to go to college, because there was a time we couldn't even go to college. There was a time they took away all the books from us, right? During slavery, there was a time that they took away our education. They did not allow us to read. They didn't allow us to write. They didn't allow us to know how to do math, arithmetic, any of that. Because guess what? If I psychologically oppress you, I can physically oppress you. I have to make you a slave in the mind before I can make you a slave in the body. Okay? In order for me to keep you oppressed, I have to remove empowermental tools or tools of empowerment. What are things that can empower you? Books. Why? Because there's knowledge in books. Okay? There's a quote that says, if you want to keep something from a Black person, put it in a book. Why would somebody say that? Why would that be a saying? You have to think about it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Why would a saying come up to say, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in the books? That goes all the way back to because Black people don't read. Where does that come from? Black people don't read. Because there used to be a time that Black people weren't allowed to read. See, some jokes have truth in it. It comes from somewhere. So when we were slaves, we were not allowed to read, which is why when there was a slave that was able to read, it was a good thing. It was like not a good thing. It was a shock to our oppressors. Like, oh, this person can read? Oh. Because slaves were not allowed to read. We can even go back to the Bible time of Joseph. When they found out that Joseph could read, they said, hold up, what kind of slave is this? So he got into the house of Potiphar, right? Because he was a slave that knew how to read.
Yes.
When you are a slave, you are not allowed to read. You are not allowed to be educated. Reading is fundamental. So now let's take it back into the school. As Blacks, now that we are allowed to read, because remember, 400 years we weren't allowed to. Now that we are allowed to read, now that we are allowed to go get an education, why are we getting education in certain majors? The social majors, the majors of what? Slaves. We want to be social workers. We want to be working in criminal justice. We want to teach people. We want to be home taker. We are working in fields that stem from slavery. And those the payments, that the compensation that is affiliated with those social service jobs are less because we were in a capacity of less. And the people who are at the top that are not Black, they are in the fields of power, finance, medical, engineering. See, engineers create stuff. Engineers create stuff. They see it in their head, they create stuff. Right? They have high levels of IQ in the areas of visual, spatial reasoning. They can see something blank and they can put a city together. Those are the engineers. They create and they build. Tech. But we are pushing those kids to play football instead of pushing them to do robotics. And it's really us that make fun of us when we see one of us like to play with robots. We say, oh, look at that nerd. Oh, look at that geek. When we're in high school, we like to date the basketball players and the football players. And back in the day, your parents used to be like, oh yeah, you could be with him because he's going to make it pro. But the little Chinese kid, the little Indian kid who was in the back, nobody wanted to talk to him. He was weird. Nobody wanted to date him. But those are the same guys on today that are the CEOs, CIOs, CFOs, COOs making $1 million.
Mm.
And if you add a little beard to them, now you want to talk to them.
Did
You
you say
see?
add a beard?
Yep. Because as soon as them boys get a beard, oh, he fine. Girl, he was fine when he was young. Because you see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
we're looking as a Black culture and community, we looking at what's cool, and what we define as cool has been perverted, unfortunately.
Mm.
So the things that are cool are really not cool. Those are the things that are setting us up for failure.
Okay.
Did you know that it is easier for a Black child to become a doctor than it is for them to become an NFL player? The odds of your Black child making it to the NBA is lower than your Black child being a medical doctor.
Mm. That was so profound when you shared that. I didn't
I
know
mean,
I was June years old when I learned that information. I said, "What?"
no, but like, think about it. All the pushing that I'm pushing them in to be this football player, all the money, all the money that I'm spending in this kid to play travel basketball. I'm spending the private coaches for the basketball. I'm doing the fitness things. They traveling the nation, all in an attempt for
Yes.
what? Because I want this kid to play pro. Ultimately, because guess what? When those kids get the college scholarship, why are those football players and basketball players? Ask them what their major is. Now I have to give you a pageant pose.
Criminal
Those
justice.
boys, their major is general studies. What the heck am I going to do with a general studies degree
Mm.
outside of be a teacher? So you're trying to tell me your kid got a full ride scholarship to go to football and his major is liberal studies or liberal arts or general studies? And when he don't make it pro, because the chances of him making it pro are of him not making it pro are higher than of him making it pro. So when
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't make it pro, then what is he going to go do in life? He doesn't have a real major to really do something functional in society for him to make it in a certain category of money
Yeah.
because he doesn't have the degree for that. So he's going to go be a PE teacher in high school or in middle school or in elementary school.
Mm.
So when we're looking at these majors that our Black football players and Black basketball players are getting, and a lot of them in football, when they finish and then they don't go pro, where do they go? They go into teaching. So now
Mm.
there are high school PE teacher with a starting annual income of teaching at $47,000 a year. So you got a free ride to go teach somebody for $47,000 a year.
Mm.
I have been speaking to these young boys because they call me, especially the ones that are like Haitian, because their parents are not speaking English and they need me to communicate to their parents. And my kids, Jonathan has been in sports all his life because I think that sports is a good way to let a boy or a child who's super active get all his energy out. Not as a way because I think he's going to be a NFL player, NBA player. So I know a lot of the boys and they call me. And I remember telling him, I'm like, what is your degree in? He was like, criminal justice. And I was like, why? Is that what you want to do? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he was like, I don't know. I just thought like, okay, I'll just do criminal justice. And I'm like, well, let's go look at jobs that you can get with a criminal justice degree. So we're on
Mm-hmm.
occupational outlook. And that's a site you can go to, occupationalhandbook.gov, and you can type in the jobs and you see how much money comes out, because I need to know how much money is this job that you're trying to get into or this career, how much money does it make a year? Because I need to know if it makes sense for you to go to this college and spend this money on the education. Because there's so many Black students that are graduating from college, and because they are so much in college debt, and
Mm-hmm.
because the money is not, the salary is lower than the debt, they can't buy a house. So I want us to stop picking these slave jobs or these slave fields. Okay, if you are not Black, this is not for you. I'm not talking to you, and I don't want to offend the non-Black social worker. Okay.
Mhm.
The Black social worker probably picked that field because it's embedded in their DNA, in their genetic makeup because of history. We only know how to care for other people's children because that's what we had to do when we were slaves as women.
Mm,
Okay.
that's so good.
Okay. We have to understand psychologically what has happened. Even when we look at movies and we look at television, Black women are always the caretaker of somebody else's child, or they
Mhm.
ratchet, or there's something going on. They're not, which is why I like the Huxtables and shows like that, because it showed Black doctors and Black attorneys, and it showed Black whatever. I want us
Black magic.
it showed Black excellence is what it showed.
Black
Black magic,
excellence.
Black academic excellence. It showed them,
Yes.
a different world. It showed these things. It's important that if you have a Black son and your son is getting a college scholarship, why are we not pushing them into tech? Why are we not producing more finance majors? How many times are we going to cry and complain and fight about, oh, and the laws, it's not for the Black people? How many judges are we creating in the Black community?
Mm.
To be a judge, you got to be an attorney. You don't like the laws. Well, how many senators are we pushing? Why is a House of Representative not a career that we're pushing? Because the House of Representative in Congress, they're making the laws, right? They're like proposing
Yeah.
the laws, right? And the senators, we're trying to see if we're going to keep the law or change it. But that means you in Congress. There's two sides of Congress, right?
Yeah.
So why are we not pushing our children into that side? Because I always say, if you want change to happen, in order to affect change, you have to be in a place where you can affect change, which is in lawmaking. You have to create the laws, or you have to edit, amend the laws.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the House. That's in Congress.
So good.
You don't like the law of your state? Why are you not trying to be a governor, baby?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you not trying to be a mayor? Because the governors are the ones who control each state. I don't see our Black community pushing these kids to say, you're going to be a governor one day. You're going to be an attorney one day. You don't like all these Black men going to jail, or you don't like these police not getting prosecuted for wrongful activities with Black people. Why are you not the attorney that the family can go get so you can speak on their behalf? You don't like what's happening with Black families and you feel like they're separating Black families. Well, why are you not a Black judge in family court? Black friend?
So
Why are
good.
there
I
not
want
more
to.
Black
Oh.
judges over juvenile court system?
I want to add that there's this segment on Netflix that I watched a while back, and I would presume that it's still on there, the 13th.
Okay.
And it goes over the 13th Amendment. And the 13th Amendment actually outlines that still to this day, a man is considered a slave once imprisoned. So there's still a form in black and white that will allow legal slavery by way of imprisonment. And then you see and you think about, wow, okay, so then why is it that a lot of our African American, our Black, our melanated brothers and
Yeah.
sisters are the ones that becoming, or are the majority of the enslaved, if you will?
Yeah.
Why is it that our politicians are donating into prisons, which are for-profit organizations, not non-for-profit organizations? And, or did I say it backward? I may have said that backward. And so when you look at it, there's still a machine out there entitled slavery by way of imprisonment. And so if you don't have this education that Miss Black Florida is dropping and implemented, and you're not having the conversations, then you have a group of individuals or an ethnicity make easy targets to then bring them in by way of prison to continue on with the slavery. You have our prisoners out there who are working in the field still, and or cleaning up the side of the highway, and or et cetera, et cetera. And it's the works that others are not doing, and they are doing. Why? Because according to the 13th Amendment, baby, they're still you're a slave when you're in, baby, you don't have choices.
Right.
You're being told what to do.
Right.
And that was just so profound to me. And I know I'm not saying it verbatim, so y'all get out there, you do your own research, okay?
Right.
But just to know that that's still a thing, it's still very much prevalent.
Definitely.
Like, wow, profound. So as you were
Definitely.
talking, I was like, this is a good point to just insert that.
No, it's an amazing point to insert, and all it does is validate what I'm
Yes.
currently saying. And then
Yes.
let's go back and validate what I said something before earlier.
Mm-hmm.
How did they get to the point of the physical slavery? Because in their mind, they
Yes.
were uneducated. And remember when we said before, my people will perish for a lack of knowledge. So
Yeah.
to be ignorant is to not know, which is
Mhm.
equivalent to having a lack of knowledge.
Mhm.
So because they weren't educated, they didn't know better, they didn't do better, and it ended up in physical slavery now.
Mhm.
The music doesn't help us with our
Oh,
culture, what's going on. The
oh
music
my
doesn't
gosh.
help us
It
because
does
there's
not.
no,
We
they're
definitely
giving music to the people who are not educated enough to understand that this is entertainment and this is not real. So when you
Mhm.
give somebody, you know, I have to say that a lot of our culture right now, a lot of our community are babies, meaning I don't care if you're 35. If you don't have the education, you're a baby because babies
Mhm.
don't know. So a lot of grown adults are babies in their mind. They're unaware, they're ignorant to a lot of things. So when they hear stuff from the music, when they hear the words from the music, they take that as their education.
Mhm.
And they're letting the music educate them. And then they're wondering why they're perpetuating stereotypes. They're wondering why they're living out what they hear because this is what's being sewn into them, and they have nothing to contradict it. They have nothing to say that's just play. It looks real because they don't see something else and they don't hear something else, and that's all they're hearing.
Right.
All they're hearing. So when you look at other cultures, white people listen to crazy music all the time, but they know that's not real
Mm.
because they still got to go to college. And their parents tell them, I don't care what you do, you still. And this is not what's happening in our community because we're letting these rappers and these artists raise our children because again, we're working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. So the TV has to be our children's babysitter. When
Mhm.
you know what, those 2 and 3 and 4 jobs you had, you know what you should have been doing? You should have been in college and you should have been picking up a trade, college, vocational school. I don't care if you don't even go to college at this point. If you go and become a radio technician, go do a 2-year class in vocational school because vocation is good too. You go to a
Mhm.
vocational school and now you're a radiologist technician. Now you took your family from 24,000 to 98,000. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Now you can take out 3 of them jobs and maybe work one job. And maybe from that one job, you can go and get your bachelor's degree in the time that you were doing the 3 jobs. Now you can have the one job and go get a bachelor's on that. And now you're the radiologist specialist. And now you
Mm.
went from 98 to maybe 137. So
Wow.
what I'm seeing is that we're just focused on the wrong things. We're focused on the wrong things. I mean, I feel like if you're on Section 8, you don't have no excuse for why you didn't go get a vocational training or college because you don't pay mortgage or rent or you pay a
Mm.
little amount.
A little.
So
Yeah.
I remember when Clinton was president, he had the welfare to work program and everybody had to go to school. But my community, we were going to cosmetology school.
Mhm.
That's not doing anything. I want us to see, okay, if you're on welfare, you need to go to school, but you need to go to school that is going to give you a career that's going to really take you off of welfare for the rest of your life. I'm okay with government assistance. I'm okay with government help. I feel if you use it to help you, to help your family, that's good. But that's not what's happening. We're using it and we're staying on top of it. And there's just something to say about that. We're staying on it for all of our life and we're not allowing it to help us. And I just think that if you have the daycare paid for you, you have the rent paid for you, you have all of that paid for you, you should be an attorney. You should be a doctor. Like, I want to be on Section 8, pay these bills so I could go to law school full time and not have to worry about my housing and not have to worry about doing strange things for change to take care of these kids. We're not utilizing the help. We're allowing it to cripple us and we're allowing it to slave us.
Repeat. I was going to say, run that back. Repeat that. Allowing it to cripple us
We
and
are allowing it to cripple us and we are allowing it to slave us. We are allowing it to be our oppressor. Why? Do you know there are women right now? There are women who don't qualify for Section 8, food stamps, none of that, but they don't make a lot of money and they are still in school. There are so many women that I see really deserve welfare assistance so they can get that help that they need to pay for the daycare while they're in nursing school. Do you know how much daycare is? Daycare is $1,000 a month. And there are women who get free childcare, but they don't work and they're not in school. What do you need the childcare for? That's a waste of government dollars. Why do you need free childcare, free daycare, and you're not in school? Or you're not working? There are women out here who are sneaking their children into the school with them because they don't have nobody to watch the kid and they're trying to do stuff. Give the Section 8 to those women, please. Give it to those women that have the kids, need the help, give it to them because at least I know in a few years they're going to be finished with school and they're going to be able to work. And they're not going to be on it. So in our Black community, we got to stop teaching our kids how to be on Section 8. We're passing it down. We're passing it down.
Wrong education.
Pass down the education.
Oppressive education. It's a pass down of oppressive education versus the building the wealth gap. Bridging, the wealth gap.
Bridging the wealth gap.
So good. Oh my God.
I feel like, okay, for example, I'm military, so I don't have nothing to say bad about the military. Okay, with all the feathers and fur and the crown and everything, your girl is military. Like in real life, I have nothing but good things to say about the military because I'm a living example. Let's say the family don't come from money. You don't have no money. Maybe sending the child off to college at 18 is not the way because we're trying to do things the way that the other community does it, but they have a different situation than us, maybe.
They have a foundation.
When Billy goes off to college at 18, they had a prepaid college scholarship. They had a 529 plan for that child. That's an investment. Okay, a 529 is an investment. It's like a investment account that you put your money in. The money's growing, and you get to take it out tax-free to spend it for money for school. Maybe you didn't have that in our household. Maybe we didn't have that. So maybe we don't have the money for the college, and maybe it's not in our best interest to take out a loan for that college. So there's a couple of things we might could do. It's okay to go to community college for the first 2 years. I got my bachelor's from community college. I went to Miami-Dade College. I got my bachelor's from Miami-Dade College. Maybe you say, I don't want my kid to go to Miami-Dade College because I don't want my child in this environment. I got it. I didn't want my daughter to go down here, to go to school here because I wanted her away from everybody so she could focus. Okay. So maybe we're not ready to send them away to college, but we can be ready to send them away into the armed forces. Why? Because when they go away for those 4 years, when they come back, they'll be able to use the GI Bill And not only will the GI Bill pay for the college 100%, they will also get a stipend per month, like a little job, to go to college. Whereas we're going to college and we're paying the school, the military will pay you to go to school, plus will pay for your school. So
she is not
our
lying.
child does not have to start school at 18. What's wrong with them starting at 22? Because the reality is most of these kids are not even disciplined enough by our parents, by us, to go to school and make it in their first year anyway, because they don't have enough discipline. So they fail out and flunk out the first year anyway. Okay? So let them go off to the military. I'm going to say the Space Force. Ms. Black Florida, is going to say the Space Force. Because why? Baby, they getting all the tech stuff they need. Whatever job of the 7 jobs that are available. You know, there's only 7 enlisted jobs in the Space Force. 7. They're all tech jobs. So that child is already starting off in an industry that is a 6-figure industry. It comes with a top secret security clearance. That top secret security clearance is a 6-figure job waiting for you. I don't care what job you have. You come with a top secret federal security clearance, you're worth $100,000 minimum 6 figures. And then you already learning something from tech, baby. Listen. Then you're gonna get from the community college of the Air Force, you're gonna get college degree, college credit.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever job you have in the military, you're gonna get that major. So if you're in the Space Force, it's gonna be something in tech. I don't know what, but it's gonna be something in tech. Now all you have to do is go get the rest of the credit remaining for you to get the entire degree. You see what I'm trying to say? Now, watch this. What I've learned through experience, sometimes when you're learning a new subject matter, like if you're learning it through the school, if it's new terminologies, it's just overwhelming. But when you work a job and you got it like hands-on experience, on the job experience, and then you go back to school to learn that, it's so much easier because you understand, because you remember what you did on the job. You see what I'm saying? So I'm okay with us sending our Black kids right after high school at 18 into the Space Force or Air Force. When they come back at 21, 22, 4 years, they come back more disciplined. They come back more mature. They come back stronger and more resilient. And now they can come and they can go into college. It's going to be paid for them.
Mm-hmm.
You already know they're more than likely going to finish because they already have been trained to be resilient because they're in the military. That's what the United States military teaches us. We're resilient. We walk in one way and we walk out a different way. And they're going to finish. And guess what? Now they have that VA loan. They can go get their job and they can go get their loan like this. And now they have a home. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They can do that. They can do that. And you, mom or dad, that's an elder now, they can put you on their insurance because now they can actually be in a position to help take care of you. We have to let our children go sometimes. Like you got to separate to elevate. With separation comes elevation, or with elevation comes separation. So you have to be able to separate. Let that child depart. Jesus was Jesus, but he didn't start operating in his functionality of Jesus. It's when he left his hometown. That's when he started doing all the miracles.
There's a place. Oh, that's so good. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to find it.
He wasn't turning water into wine in the stable where he was born.
No, is it in Mark where it mentions like when a child is to leave their home and just kind of like the fortune that comes with it? You keep talking, sis. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna give it to the people at the end. We almost. Okay. We gonna wrap it up with this here. That's gonna be good.
We have to be aware of what we are educating our children with at home and what we're pushing them to be educated with on the outside. So I spend money. I spend $400 a month for a math tutor for my child. If anybody wants to DM me with a tutor that is cheaper, please let me know. But right now it's $400 a month at Mathnasium, right? And my child is getting math lessons. I homeschool my son. And I make sure he's getting math lessons because I want him to be so strong in math that it's not crazy. There was a time my son, he failed second grade twice and he failed third grade. Okay. He failed twice second grade and he failed third grade. So he was 3 grades behind. Plus, he was born in November. So he already started a year late. So there was a time in our life that Jonathan was 4 grades behind. And I couldn't understand why he wasn't doing any of the work, and it was just really bad. And we found out that he had a condition called convergence insufficiency, which means that your pupils, it's the inability for your pupils to cross. His eyes couldn't converge. And that causes the children to get nauseous, get sick. It makes them see like sideways, like it changes the focus of how they see. They can see double because they can't look at their nose. They can't make their nose like cross like this. And the school never heard about it. They never heard about it. And I remember I had to become an advocate for my son who had convergence insufficiency, and it caused him to not know how to read. In addition to that, he had dyslexia. So in addition to the words moving around, he was also reading from right to left instead of from left to right. This made it very difficult for my son to be successful in school. And I remember them calling me saying, "Mom, he's just staring in space. He's not writing anything in his composition book, yada, 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 yada." Around 1 p.m. every day, I would get a call from the clinic of my son's school because Jonathan would be in the clinic and he would always have a stomach ache around 1 p.m. And I remember asking him, what were you guys doing? He said, we had reading circle time. And in reading circle time is when everybody's in a circle and everybody has to read and you got to read out loud. Well, the reason his stomach was hurting him is because he was getting anxiety and he was getting nauseous because he couldn't read. And he was having anxiety to have to read in front of a group of kids because whenever he did try to read, they would make fun of him. They would call him stupid. They would say all these things. And I remember telling Jonathan one time, I remember asking him when I was on the phone with him, like, "Jonathan, be straight with me. You're not going to get in trouble. Are you sick or do you just not want to be in class?" He was like, "Mommy, I don't want to be in class, but my stomach does hurt." He couldn't articulate that he was having butterflies, anxiety. He didn't, it wasn't stomach hurt like cramp pains. It was that stomach hurt of nausea, like I'm scared, flutters. And he was like, "Mom, they just always make fun of me and I just feel really bad. They call me stupid. They laugh at me. They say, oh, he's stupid. He's dumb. He can't read." And this is when he was in the 3rd grade. And I said, "Don't worry." This was this was the second time he had taken 3rd grade. And he had already felt deflated. His confidence was deflated. And another reason I kept him in sports is because that's where he was doing good at. And that's where he felt like, okay, I'm doing something good. And even in sports, his eye vision, it worked against him in sports. He couldn't catch well because when he would see the ball, as it would come close to him, the ball would become 2. Because remember, his eyes couldn't converge. He couldn't see his nose. So if you can't see your nose, you can't see a ball coming up to you to catch. So he would never be able to catch the ball. So in sports, for things like football, he always would play defense and he was good at blocking people. And even though his body makeup was not for that, he was good at that. And that's what he became. So he became a really good defensive player at one point in his sports career because that's all he knew how to do was defend. He couldn't catch and he couldn't shoot for nothing, but he could defend something. So when we found out that he had convergence insufficiency and we found out about the dyslexia, I put my money and I put him at the school called the Levi Learning Center. And this just happened right around COVID time. And it was amazing. COVID was the best thing. he had got on disability through Social Security, and I left my job. I left my corporate job, and I went to just go take care of him with the disability check. And that's when I just was making sure I was doing insurances. And, you know, what a heck of a time to be in the insurance world during COVID. Everybody wanted it then, right? Because of all the deaths that were happening, and people were scared, and people were like, I need insurance just in case. And I put him in this center for dyslexia, and I spent my money there. And let me tell you, my son, who couldn't read, once he was diagnosed with dyslexia and he was, you know, and these things, we did the vision therapy. They asked me if I wanted him to wear the special glasses, which it was going to be like a whole helmet kind of thing. And they said if he started with that, he would always have to wear it for the rest of his life. Or we can do vision therapy to train his eye muscle to converge. It will push him back, but he won't have to wear that headpiece. And I asked him, and he said, well, I don't want to wear that thing on my head all my life, so let's do the exercises. Let me tell you, he did get pushed back in school, but it was okay because we were homeschooled, and we were able to work at our pace. And him doing the muscle therapy for the eyes, him doing the one-on-one learning lessons and learning how to read with dyslexia. My son read after 6 months of this one-on-one training. And I remember calling his teacher, Miss Palmer, because she was like this Black teacher. She was like a mama bear. She was like, Jonathan, you gonna pass. You gonna pass. I don't care what they say. I remember calling her, and I said, Miss Palmer, Jonathan wants to tell you something. And Jonathan started reading an article. She said, no, that's not my baby reading. Look at that. Okay, I told you he was going to read. She was so instrumental and impactful in his life, which is why I want teachers to make more money. So I don't have to tell somebody like Miss Palmer, you could be making more money, because we need love like that, right? He started reading, and we caught him up. And remember, he was about 3-4 grades behind. We caught him up. On today, Jonathan is just like 1 grade behind. Yeah. We caught him up. He's reading. And that's why I invest in his math tutor, because I don't want math to be the thing that makes my kid not do well in school. Because I know if you have a good foundation with math, then you can get those tech jobs. You can go into school and go major in finance because you understand math, or you can go into chemistry, you can do medicine because you need strong foundation in math. And I don't have a problem. I never had a problem paying for tutors. I've always paid for tutors for my daughter. I've always paid for them. And I've put Jonathan in every reading, Sylvan learning, everything, but we didn't know about the dyslexia at that time. So I also want to put out to the Black community that if your kid is in kindergarten or in first grade and you're seeing they're having difficulties of reading, I want you to go to the eye doctor, not the pediatrician, and ask them to do a convergence insufficiency test. They need to do a full spectrum vision screening, not the left eye, right. No, not that. They need to do a full spectrum, and they need to test for convergence insufficiency, because I believe a lot of our Black children who are having problems with reading, it's because they are suffering from undiagnosed convergence insufficiency, or they might not know that they are dyslexic. And if you catch it early, you can fix it.
So good.
I want to see more Black engineers. I want to see more Black mathematicians. We right now, as a Black society, we have a health disparity when it comes to maternal morbidity, meaning Black women are dying at higher rates while giving birth. There are certain microaggressions that are happening towards the Black pregnant woman that other races don't go through. And there's certain colloquial terms that a Black woman might come in the hospital saying that a white woman or Spanish woman don't understand. Therefore, that lets me know we need more Black doctors. We need more Black OBGYNs. I saw a psychiatrist on Instagram, or a nurse on Instagram saying Black medical specialists are needed because there was a patient, and she had weave in her hair, and she was like, she was patting it, and they wanted to do a psych eval on her because the nurse or the doctor, the white nurse or doctor who kept seeing her pat her head, was saying that she needs a psych eval because the lady keep hitting her head. And it was a Black nurse that came and said, no, that's a cultural thing. She's scratching her scalp. You see what I'm saying? So we need more representation in these spaces. We need more Blacks in the medical field. And we need to not just promote our children to be athletes. Our children are more than just athletes, because on today, it's entertainment. And once again, our Black assets are being put on display for entertainment purposes. You look at it like that.
So good.
Because Jewish families are not pushing their boys to be athletes.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at a Jewish family, what are they producing? When you look at an Asian family, go talk to an Asian family. What are they producing? What are Indian families producing? What are Africans in Africa that's sending their African children in America? What are they producing? I don't know too many Africans that come to America for education come so they could be a social worker. I don't know the Nigerians that's coming over here, the people from Ghana, from Cameroon, when they're sending their children to school, they're not pushing for sports. These kids are coming over here to be in the medical field. They're coming over here doing big things. Why Black Americans, Blacks that are in America, why are we the ones that's doing everything different from the world, but then we're sad about the disparities?
Choices, maybe.
It's choices, but choices come from information. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of information.
You've given us a lot today.
That's what I have for education.
Okay. You have given us a lot. I'm
saying this because I'm by that. I graduate with my MBA, and I'm doing this pageant. The biggest thing that I want from this pageant is I want that law school scholarship. I want to be an attorney, and I don't want to go in debt to be an attorney. I waited for my children to get older because I have been a mother first. That has been my first job. That's been my first ministry, is to take care of my household, my husband at the time, and my children. After I was no longer with the husband, I still had his children to take care of. And that's what I've been taking care of, because I wanted to make sure Maya went off to college. I wanted to make sure Jonathan could read and he was up to school, grade level. Like, I couldn't go into graduate school knowing my kids were suffering. Once that happened, I got a scholarship for my MBA. I only had to pay $5,000 out of pocket for my MBA.
Clap it up.
Which I didn't have a problem, because I understand by me having my MBA, I love teaching. So I didn't have a problem, because I said a $5,000 investment towards my MBA brings me to around 6 figures as a professor. Even if I'm not doing it full time, because I plan to possibly teach while I'm in law school, because I still need, the girl got to bring in some money as something stable. Yes, I can sell a house. Yes, I can sell insurance, but those are commission-based jobs. They're not consistent. I need something consistent because I have consistent bills. Therefore, I need consistent income, right? If I'm a professor, the money I make as a professor part-time can be equivalent to what I would make as a full-time teacher working in high school. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to go in debt for law school. And I also want to use my GI Bill towards law school. So I believe with the scholarship, my GI Bill, I'll be fine. Some people are like, you're not going to give your GI Bill to them kids? No, because they can go into the military just like I did. If I did it at 37, why they can't do it at 17 and 18? Their knees work way better than mine. Yeah.
And she
Maya's
said what she
19.
said.
She can do it. And Jonathan will be 17 next year. So with my permission, which I give him my consent, he can go bye-bye. Y'all need to get your own benefits because these benefits are for me. This is like the military is something I'm doing for me. And I want my benefits so that I can not be in $66,000 of debt extra just to go to law school. So my pageant, that's what they do. We're a scholarship pageant. The Miss Black USA pageant is a scholarship pageant. We're at almost $1 million in scholarships to Black women across this country. And so there is a law scholarship at the District of Columbia Law School to the winner. And so I'm competing for that. I don't care about the glitz and glam and all that stuff. I'm cute in real life. Like I really look like this in real life every day. So I don't need this pageant to bring. I'm not doing it for that. I'm telling you, I'm doing it because I want that scholarship. And even if it can't be at the District of Columbia, at least I could take the Miss Black USA and I can say, hey, St. Thomas University Law School, FIU Law School, Nova Law School, I have a scholarship on the table. Can you match this? I want you to match this because I want to stay local. You see what I'm saying? I want that scholarship to leverage other scholarships because I want to live what I'm preaching. I want to lead by example. So I hope with the education piece, I hope everything that I just said, I really hope it makes sense because this is what we see all the time. And it's so like, I want my Black people to operate in their excellence as they should.
So good.
Yeah. I think I'm done.
Yeah. Like who ends a 3-hour interview? Yeah. I think I've hit it. That's because she literally has poured herself out, y'all.
Yeah.
I greatly appreciate you, Stefanie Merelus, Miss Black Florida USA 2024. Thank you so much. Y'all, we had 4 topics and practically an hour a piece was spent on the topics. And can I underscore that she gets paid for this? I am grateful. I praise God that He allowed us to cross paths in 2023 and that we still were connected, even if several months to a year passed by to where we can come back now. I can applaud you in all that you're doing and support you and amplify and lift you up. And you can do the same for me, even if it's the information, it's the access to the information. My mind has changed. Y'all, I said in the beginning, I'm no longer African American. I am now Asian American because after she was pouring into me, baby, I said I had to just change everything that I identify as. I love it. Before we disconnect, no, but I'm serious.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Before we disconnect, you're more than welcome. I thank you. Where can the people follow you? Where can we support you? Where can we go out and vote? Where, like, just give us the stuff. Give us all of the things. Give it to us.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. I really appreciate this platform to speak. I love you so much. I think you're so intelligent. I think you're such a beautiful girl inside out.
What happened?
I feel like if I was like you when I was younger, I'd be so much further than at this age now. And I'm like, if my daughter could just have your ambition and resilience that just goes with it, I'll be a happy mom. Like, I know your parents are so proud and you're the kind of woman that mothers like me want our daughters to like emulate or look up to or as a role model. So just thank you for being that excellent woman, that Black academic excellence. Like, you're educated, you're in the military, you're an officer. Like, to me, baby, you perfection. You are perfection.
Oh my gosh. Praise God. Thank you.
My followers, where you can follow me, is Ms. Black Florida USA on Instagram. So that's MS Black FLUSA. That's the official page for the Miss Black Florida page. You can also follow me at Stefanie Merelus on all social media platforms. So that's Instagram, Facebook, anything. And it's just my first and last name. So Stefanie Merelus. And hopefully you guys will watch me live on Foxhole Network August 3rd on Saturday. That is where the pageant will be, and we are accepting donations and sponsorships. So if you want to help me on my journey to the Miss Black USA crown held in Washington, D.C., to help me win, please make a donation, and you can go on my Instagram and you can see where the links for donations are. Please vote for me for People's Choice so I can possibly make top 12 so that I have the opportunity to compete to be your next Miss Black USA. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, so good. Y'all, this is the Conscious Courage podcast where new episodes come to you every single Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But this here is our bonus episode. It's actually 2 parts. So you just concluded with the second half of the episode or of this discussion. So good. Please come back. Please go and follow and support Miss Stefanie. I am rooting for you. I am definitely going to send prayers up for you as well. Okay. The crown is yours in Jesus' name. Please receive it. Okay. We need the scholarship. We need the sponsorship. We need all of the money to flow.
Because we need me as an attorney, yes, as a judge.
And we need you as an attorney, as a judge, and everything else that God has in store for you.
In the Senate House, honey.
Okay, let's do it. Thank you so much, y'all. And that is it for us. Take care.
Thank you.
Disclaimer: as a content creator with a background in psychology and ongoing studies, it's imperative that I note and clarify that I am not a licensed professional. The videos and podcasts I produce are intended for educational, entertainment, and transformational purposes only. While I strive to provide accurate information and insights, it's essential to consult with a licensed mental health clinician or a licensed mental health professional for clinical perspectives and personalized advice tailored to your specific needs. Your mental well-being is of the utmost importance to me, and seeking guidance from a qualified provider is encouraged for any concerns or issues that you may be experiencing.